does sound like a strip club, yeah.
A little bit.
What's a strip club? What's this?
A place where they refinish furniture.
Hello and welcome to the QUACKCAST. This is QUACKCAST number 487. I'm Ozone Ocean and with me is Bound Bun. Hi Bound Bun.
Hello.
And also Baines.
Hello.
And Tance. Hola. Hola. And Pitface is the silent chattering skeleton. But you can't see.
She says hello. I imagine.
You imagine she says hello.
Yes.
You're going to be our interpreter from now on. You have to read out everything Pitface types.
I'll say what she types, yes. She just said hello, and she just complimented my work, but I don't have to go into that.
Ah. She's a big admirer of your work, I know that.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, she says subscribe to the Drunkduck Patreon.
Oh, she did, yeah.
Okay. Well, this week we're going to be chatting about anthologies because our Discord crew came up with a great idea of doing a new anthology for Drunkduck, which is really good. And we have had anthologies in the past, so this is continuing on, or reviving a long dead tradition that Drunkduck has had, which is really cool. But there are going to be certain kind of new things about this particular anthology because it's new, and you know the people organising it have some great new ideas. But before we get into that, I've got to bring up the featured comic. Featured comic this week was Myths, and I'll be talking about that now. Hello, I am Ozone Ocean, and my feature for the week was Myths. Bad Dog has been a bad dog. He mauled the proprietor of a brothel and ended up in prison. He's been sentenced to be executed in the arena for the entertainment of the king and queen of the gods. Myths is centered around Atlantis, a place where gods and mortals mix, sometimes with terrible results. Our story begins in the prison, where tensions are running high. A whole bunch of demigods and demigoddesses are clashing. This is an action-adventure fantasy story with a mythological bent. The art seems to be inks and watercolors. It's bold, colorful, and textured, suiting the subject quite well. There's a dollop of comedy in here as well, so action-adventure comedy. It's quite funny, humorous at times. The art is quite lush, really. It looks really, really good. It's stylized. It's very professionally done. It reminds you of the pottery paintings on that actually depicted gods in ancient Greece. So it has that kind of look. And the font style as well has that angular kind of style that you often associate with the ancient Greek writing. So it's stylized, and there's been a lot of effort put into this comic to make it look just the right way. Even the choices of colors are very reminiscent of those simple, bold choices of colors that they used to use for those that pottery, the artwork on the pottery. So it looks really cool. It's quite interesting so far. There's a mixture of gods from different kinds of mythologies, I think. There's Brunhilde of Valkyrie, she's in there, and Bad Dog is a sort of a dog-headed god like Anubis. Anubis, maybe, is what you call him. And there are some Greek sort of gods and things as well, and possibly some Roman ones, and all sorts of mixtures and variations. So you'll find it quite interesting. It's a lot of fun, looks good, and it's intriguing to see what's happening. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this. This is a comic by Connor Lachmanek, and it's rated M for mature. And that was a featured comic, Myths. Okay, so after that, we're talking about the featured music. Gomos has given us a theme to a comic called Crystal Visions. So, softly, softly, quiet contemplation on the stillness. Visions gradually coalesce in the twilight darkness. Grey upon grey, shapes and form emerge, only to melt away again into the shadows. Once again, all is pure and still. So, take it away, Gummels, with Crystal Visions. And that was the featured music, Gummel's Crystal Visions. Well, which is a comic by Roma, actually, rated E, so check it out, Crystal Visions. Okay, so anthologies, the Drunkduck anthology. So this is something that is going on in the Discord forum. Well, the Discord right now, because Discord isn't a forum, it is its own thing. So, Bound Bun, what can you tell us about the plans? Because you know about this peripherally, but you do know a little bit.
Yes, so the anthology is Aggie and Mal's creation. They are currently in the planning stages for it. They plan to have a theme to keep it cohesive, but stress that everybody with every any art style and any level of skill is welcome. We're trying to gauge interest right now for how many people would actually want to contribute to the anthology and how many people might want to buy a physical printed version of the anthology. The plan is to raise funds for the Duck so that the Duck can modernize the site layout and be more friendly for both browser and mobile users.
Yeah. Okay, so this will be something for everybody to have their own way of looking at it. So this will make it a lot more modern and current than the old style anthologies that we used to do on the site, which were done as printed comics, which people had to buy and would be sent out to them after they bought it. And they're all black and white, I think. Or maybe the last one that was done was coloured. I think that was only done in a small print run, and the main reason I actually stopped doing them is because we got bought out by Platinum Comics, and then onto Wowio got us. And actually Platinum were going to do the anthology. And so they got all the submissions, got the work together, and then, you know, the global financial crisis happened. They lost all their money, as everybody did, and the business had to be scaled back, and the anthology got lost in the works. So that kind of ruined all the momentum for doing that. But it was still in the works somewhere, and eventually it got produced, and in a much smaller run than it was meant to be, and we did send out some copies when we did one of our fundraising things. So people still actually did get copies of our last anthology, which was good. And I believe there are copies of the older ones still floating around somewhere. But these are the older style anthologies. So these are for works that would have been current back then in the early days of the Drunkduck, you know, from 2004 to 2010 sort of thing. So it's a long time since then. And we've got newer artists now working on the site. And as Bound Bun mentions, newer ways of receiving media. So people are used to seeing things on their mobile devices now. They're used to reading, I don't know, stuff on their screen. I mean, obviously you can read comics on your mobile device or on the screen, but an anthology, there is a certain reason for getting an anthology because you have all these collected works in one publication that you can read, and this is meant to have a theme, isn't it, Bound Bun? So
Yeah,
killer.
I think the theme isn't decided on yet, and I think we'll probably have a poll that we'll post both on the forums and on the Discord. Take some submissions from people for theme ideas. I'd personally suggest interdimensional rift so that everyone's art styles don't so that they can sort of thrive together, but that's just my personal suggestion.
Yeah, that's a great idea for a theme, so you can...
Yeah, it's wide open. There's so many different things you can do with it. But then it's also... I enjoy looking at anthologies or that type of material, like even going back to the Twilight Zone and thinking that all of these really, like, quote-unquote, really happened. They're just like, a lot of them are in different dimensions and stuff. That's fun.
Well, and it could also...
I was just going to say that there will be something for everyone in that manner.
Of course. And doing the interdimensional thing, it could reflect the whole theme of Drunkduck itself, which is a huge melting pot for different ideas and themes. So it is like a microcosm of Drunkduck itself. Literally, it will be. I suppose that's what it'll be. You're getting a microcosm of the actual site. So we are a huge interdimensional meeting place for many different styles of things. Quite a lot more than all the other comic sites out there, because we openly allow for different themes, which is not what you're going to get through the common front face of, say, Tapas or Webtoons, which have certain restrictions on how you can present your work, or like from Tapas's case, they only promote certain styles of work. And we allow... They
all have to be from this dimension. We allow people from other dimensions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we'd go with more adult work. I don't know if you could really have that in an anthology. Could you?
We'd probably have to come up with some overall restrictions and guidelines on what we would take and what we wouldn't take, so that it's available to more people, and we're not restricting participation and getting it to just the adult portion of the community, which isn't all of the community, or even probably the majority.
What could easily happen would be, like, we could have some lemony, let's say, level, in the sense that we would have the ideas and the themes, and just have specific things left out, so that the overall rating of the anthology doesn't go like above 60, PG-16 or PG-17, which I think is very reasonable, because I think the anthology should represent the age range of the creators on the duck, and I don't think we have too many people below 17, 16 years old. I think most of us around are adults, most of us.
Well, when I say adult community, I mean specifically the people who make more mature art, not people who are, in fact, mature. I think that's definitely the majority of your site.
I know, it could be an interesting challenge. It always is when you have imposed restrictions. So if you're someone who normally does adult stuff, then thinking about turning your style down a bit to make it just cheeky. So then it becomes like a sex farce. Like Bottomless Waitress is a good example of that. You know, it's a sex farce, but it's not hardcore. So we impose certain restrictions on ourselves in order to keep below the mature rating. So that kind of thing. So you move on to doing cheekiness and bikinis and that kind of stuff, and it works. So yeah, it's actually quite fun to work within that, as long as you're not forced to work within that, because you have your other outlets. So, yeah.
Willingly imposing restrictions on yourself is probably the best way to grow.
Exactly. It allows for more creativity.
Exactly. And it can generate interest from audiences that wouldn't normally consider that such themes are on the table, but if they are presented in a way that meets the mature rating, not the adult rating, maybe then they will be considering the, more industrial grade stuff, let's say. So.
Industrial grade. Well, like Pitt said, there could be a possibility of doing the smutty issue if that's allowed, I mean, sure, because the only restrictions on having a smutty comic, a smutty thing, are a distribution. Because you're banned, it's harder to distribute it through certain channels, but it's only distributed through our site. Well, then there's no barrier. I mean, paying for print copies, that would be another matter, but you could always get a file to print it somewhere if you wanted to do that. That's another thing. So, yeah, there are possibilities for it if that is what people want. So there is a possibility. Though, like Pitt said, I would advise doing that as something separate.
Yeah. I mean, we've got an Anthology channel on the Discord that's open to discussion right now, so if you want to join in and talk about it there, then as the theme of the last QUACKCAST says, join the Discord.
Yes, very much so. Well, seeing as that's the case, and that is something, that's where ongoing discussion is happening, because these are the people who are actually doing it. So we can't really make any decisions about that here. So we should probably talk about past anthologies and what we like to see in anthologies normally. So guys, has anybody actually seen one of the past anthologies for Drunkduck?
It's before my time, actually. I've been here
You're
for
around.
30 years.
Before mine too. I think, but I might be mistaken and thinking of something else. I think I might have glimpsed a story or two that because the anthology didn't happen, I remember that there were discussions that the anthology didn't actually get printed or in general didn't happen. So some people uploaded their stories so that they would be seen. And I did catch a glimpse of a couple of those that were black and white, I remember.
Okay. Yeah, okay. As far as I know, they all happened eventually. There was just a huge delay. Yeah, so from 2003, I think, into 2010. So there was a few years of anthologies being done. And they tended to feature the duck and the quail on the front cover and black and white stories within them by people who are active in the community or popular comics on the site. So they were a good kind of way of becoming more of a member of the community than the site. Not something that I was interested in either way, but a lot of people were, and people, were overjoyed to have those comics and to have that, that concrete recognition that they were part of the site and part of something bigger. So it was a good thing to do. It brought the community together.
And the thing that we can consider is that if we do decide this is going to be an anthology, either in digital format or in a print format, there is going to be an ISBN attached to it. So those people that do contribute to the anthology will be published comic artists. That's something that cannot be dismissed. It is something you can mention even on your CV.
Oh, that's good.
That's a good point to bring up.
Yeah.
So there is a benefit of participating within those things. Many benefits from participating with those. But you've just got to be sure to, if you do agree, like any community project, to actually do the work, or you don't get to be part of it. That's the thing. So if you agree to do it, like the Secret Santa or any of that kind of stuff, and you don't get the work done, there will be timelines. There'll be a timeline in which to finish, but there'll be a deadline in order to, when you reach the end of it and you haven't finished your work on time, well, then
You'll be kicked out of the site.
You'll be banned.
You'll be banned for life.
We'll SWAT you, basically.
We will put on your site, on your particular comic site, this person promised a story for the Ontology and failed.
Yeah.
This is going to be
exactly. You'd be
Mother
yeah. All jokes, of course. I mean, come on,
really what we'll do is you'll be taken to a CIA black site in Turkey and waterboarded for
CIA quack
site.
We're going to post your email address on the dark web. That's all we're gonna do.
You'll be forced to become a cocaine mule until you pay.
This is a serious agreement you're entering into.
I think actually now that this QUACKCAST is going to go on some lists for sure, just from the company we used alone. But yeah, I guess the honor system usually works on the duck, and when you do decide to take up like a story, it's probably going to be something like 4 pages, so that we can facilitate the print version should that come. If you do decide to get your 4 pages, then just we will trust you that you're going to do those 4 pages. That's all there is to it. So, yeah. I remember the dark web also. But,
4 to 8 pages, I would say, in general terms, is probably a nice length for an anthology.
Yeah.
I like the idea of uploading art to there. That's really cool. Mm-hmm. Like, if you don't want to do a comic page, you just upload. You say, okay, I want to do an illustration to include in the site in the thing.
Yeah,
that's a really cool thing. So just
absolutely.
I love that, looking through old comics, when they have art pages, like in heavy metal, those kind of things, which are, heavy metal is almost, it's not an anthology, but it is a comic that draws a lot of different people's works. And there is a huge collection of stuff there, like this would be, I suppose, because it's showcasing a lot of different works. And I think of Drunkduck as a heavy metal version of, what a lot of webcomic sites are. I mean, although we could be like a Mad Magazine. You could deal with this Mad Magazine.
We could be both. Why not?
Yes.
Well, they're similar in a way. Like, there are stories that are longer. Like in heavy metal in particular, you'd have like maybe 8 or 10 or 12 page stories even. I haven't read one in a while, but then, there's a huge variation in art style and tone and everything. Usually everything with some kind of edge, obviously, to fit the theme of that book. But like some are longer stories, and you have single page gags and stuff in between, and then standalone like pin-up art, like you were getting at there.
The main thing for participating in an anthology is just being enthusiastic and wanting to participate is awesome. Just be realistic on what you actually can contribute, and contribute that, and that will be valued. Even if it is like, I don't know, and even you could make like a splash page ad for your own comic or something like that. And that will also be very valued and be included in the anthology. Like considering that it is going to be an issue, a first issue of many other anthologies to come. So.
Yeah, an annual anthology, or like Bane says, like a we'll do one for every holiday of the
seasonal. Yeah,
got to do the Halloween.
It would be awesome to have this thing on the shelf for sure.
Oh yeah, especially when your own work's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I would also have it on my shelf.
Okay.
That's
Not on my person, on my shelf.
On yourself.
Just carry it with you wherever you go.
Well,
that's oh, sorry.
No, you go.
That's been a small dream of mine for a while now, is to have something in person that I've created.
Yeah, it's valuable, because you can always give someone links to something, and that's cool. But it's even cooler when you can pull it down off your shelf and say, "I did this."
Yeah.
And they say, "Oh, what do you do?" "Oh, let me show you. Here is the book. Here's my work right here."
Yes. I love it. We're gonna do this, guys. Either way, it's gonna happen, and then it's gonna happen again, and then again. It's going to be a different thing.
It's valuable for the people that work on it too, because they get to develop skills and make contacts for, in the publishing industry, and knowing how to publish something, which helps them do their own work. If they want to just do their own stuff as a book, then they know how. So it's valuable. It's worth doing for every single person, even though it is hard work and you don't get any money out of it. You still get skills from it. So yeah, it's valuable. Have you guys purchased many anthologies?
I haven't personally. I've purchased the work of artists before, art books and such, but I haven't purchased well, actually, I might have been in an anthology, but it was when I was really young, and it was like a school, like a statewide school art thing. So I'm actually a published illustrator. I don't remember what it was called. Nothing. I'm sorry.
Well, that's pretty cool. How about you guys? Have you ever been in one or purchased one?
Never been in one. I've definitely bought books that are like prose anthologies. I'm trying to think if I've ever bought a comic. You would not consider heavy metal an anthology?
I would. I think I would.
Well, then I have. And Mad Magazine kind of is too.
Yeah, well, Mad Magazine has its it had its things. So it had recurring things that would be the same.
Almost everything was recurring. Yeah, the
Sorry.
stuff and Spy versus Spy.
Yeah. Yeah. Far Side, Lighter Side. No, not Far Side. Lighter Side. All that kind of stuff. Sorry, I can't say. I'll cut across you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I had this weird anthology that I lost, or someone pinched it, because there is a suspicion that the person might have taken it. That was a set of stories using, it was like fan fiction by professionals using asterisks and putting them in different situations and timelines and stuff like that. And it was amazing. It was the greatest thing ever. It was mad, but with asterisks and obelix and everyone else and all the goals and stuff. Yeah, if we can do something like that, and I don't mean just have the same characters in every story, like in that anthology, but have this diversity of different styles and different tones, because some stories were very funny, while others were extremely dark. Like I'm talking, everybody died dark.
Right. I mean, that's what was great about
That
heavy metal, right? Was like such a variety of styles and tones. It was really cool, and this will have that just by its nature.
Heavy metal is a really good example to follow because they were quite adult. You know, they could be very sexual and, you know, they could be quite immature, and there's like all the ranges in between. So it allowed for quite a diversity of styles and tastes. So it definitely is something to look at for that kind of thing.
Yeah, even though they all had something that was sort of its heavy metalish, there's usually a sexual element to it, but sometimes it was really subtle, sometimes it wasn't. It was barely there. And definitely the tones were completely different.
And I think in an anthology, that is the spice, because you don't really know what you're gonna get. And I try not to sound like Forrest Gump right now with the joke,
just thinking.
because that's exactly what came to mind. But the idea is that in an anthology, you might get a super funny story and just cry while you laugh, and then you might get a super serious one, and then you might get another that is just an action adventure or something really fun and lighthearted and stuff. And that is something that you don't necessarily get when you purchase a book, like a graphic novel that has one story, cover to cover, and one style.
I quite like Baines said the thing, the prose anthologies. I've got a lot of those, and they work quite well when they have themes.
They're better when they have themes. Yeah, I would say. I don't know if I've bought any really that have no theme. It just like collected, or just like a scattering of short stories. Like you kind of want to know what you're getting. Like, are they ghost stories, or are they small town stories, or small town ghost stories, or whatever. In a comic, I'm not sure if it's the same. Like a sort of more general theme, like whether it's extra dimension or dimensional travel or whatever. That might be a good idea.
Do you remember the drunk?
Sorry.
Do you remember the heavy metal movie?
I do, actually. That was a weird pipe dream.
Yeah.
You cut out there for me.
I like it.
Oh, the heavy metal movie. So that was the animated thing that they made for, the heavy metal comic. But it was done in anthologies, God, I hate that phrase. Done in anthology kind of way, because they had different styles of animation for the different stories, which was quite interesting, but they were still connected somehow.
Yeah.
You know, you had that special Julie Strain kind of character, whatever she was, with the white hair, as the main kind of story, I think, in that. I don't know. I never really saw how they were connected, but they were meant to be connected in some way. And they were fun.
They were all sci-fi fantasy, would that be right? I haven't seen it in so long.
Yeah. What's that, Tons?
I said they were in the same movie.
Yes, they were in the same movie. That's true. Yes. So our anthology will be, I mean, like Bound Bun says, we really can't say what it's going to be and what it's not going to be, because this is being discussed in the Discord. So get over there to make that happen. But yeah, anthologies in general are better done when they have themes that connect them. And yeah, I quite like them. Because it gives you a showcase of many different authors and artist styles that you might not necessarily come across. So it introduces them, and like Bain says, with the theme, that gives you the incentive to check them out often, because you might not be interested in just like a random collection of different stuff. But if it says, okay, this is a book of fantasy stories, or stories about money, or stories about magic, or that gives you a common thread. So yeah, then you're going to read it and see what it's like. So Bound Bun's suggesting interdimensional kind of stuff as the theme. So that can work too. If you're going to read, you're expecting. This gives you a kind of a key into it, and then you just follow that, and you see all the different styles, and you get presented all different things that you might not come across, and you go, oh wow, I've got to check out this guy's work now. So you go and, like, there might be a link written down at the bottom of the page, or like a clickable link if it's an online version. So, and then you go and check out this person's profile or this person's comic on the site, or obviously in an anthology you can include like their Twitter and any other links they have. So it's not just limited to what they've got with Drunkduck, So.
And there is another benefit, aside the very obvious showcasing of the artist benefit, is that if you decide to participate in an anthology that has a specific theme, the chances are that it's going to be beyond what you usually do. I mean, not many people are going to do, for example, dimensional travel or space opera, or I don't know, fantasy or steampunk or political stuff. Some of us will be right in the niche, but everyone else won't be. So when you do try to do something that is not within your usual stuff, you push the limits of your own art and the way that you approach things, and that will also help even better with your actual project, the one that you do. It will shape things up. It will give you more ideas. Perhaps it will even inspire you even more. So there's also that aspect.
It forces you to stretch, which is always a helpful thing. And, if you, like we were saying before, if you can't reach the deadline, you can do your illustration or whatever, so you get to have some kind of inclusion in there. But yeah, so anthologies are helpful, themed anthologies are helpful for readers and also creators. And the editors and the publishers and everyone, though they are a huge commitment in time and work. So we cannot pretend that isn't a lot of hard work to do, not only for, collating the whole thing and formatting pages and all that stuff, just the fact of organizing and getting people together and, rustling up these creators in order to get their work in on time. That is an incredible job. So I congratulate you, our Discord crew, for taking it on. That will be an interesting experience.
Well, with your experience behind them, I think that that they can ask and draw from. I think that it'll definitely be possible. We just need to get on it and maybe curb high expectations if they are an issue and there's not enough interest. But yeah, I think that it's we'll end up with something, and it'll be something worth reading.
Yeah, I'll definitely be there to give advice, or at least I could even put them in contact with our past anthology creators, and they can learn from that. I know BK, Black Kitty, who used to be one of our fantastic admins on the site. She is still around on the web somewhere, because she's teaching in Canada. But yeah, she would be a great bit of a great oracle to turn to. So she is a huge font of wisdom when it comes to anthologies. I mean, obviously technology has moved on since then, but you don't lose your skills of organization and all that kind of stuff, which is just as important as knowing how to format stuff for the, for printers. And also Carly, who did our the last anthology, and she was our she was the bridge member between Platinum Comics and Drunkduck, and then she went on and joined Wowio, I think, and she was still the go-between. So yeah, she has a good lot of corporate experience there, but she's very good at organizing that stuff, and so she has experience of producing an actual anthology, which is good, and all sorts of other print media. So yeah, we can put people in touch with those super anthology creators, and we can get all the experience and help we need there. So we've got a lot of experience to draw from. Sorry, go on.
When Aggie and Mel finally get back on, I'm sure they'll be really happy to hear that they have all the help that they could possibly need.
Yeah, we'll let them know about that. Because have either of them done anything like that before?
I don't think so. I think they're kind of new to it, and I'm kind of new to it, even though it's not something I'm personally taking a very large role in. I'll try and contribute a couple of illustrations or a few pages, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, it's one of those things that everybody will try and to contribute what they can. I mean, I might contribute a page myself of artwork. I can't commit to a full comic because I take forever just to do one page. So.
Yeah. Well, if life gets in the way, then there's no shame in that, I suppose, right?
Yeah, life gets in the way for all of us. We're immune to the black site or the dark web stuff, so it'll affect you guys, but not us. So yeah, it'd be interesting to follow up. Well, which is what we'll do. If we can get them on the QUACKCAST, we'll get them to come and talk about their actual plans for it.
Yeah, I apologize for not being better informed on what they were planning on doing, but we brought the topic up, and we can see if there's any interest, and hopefully that'll be enough to move forward with it. And I've been helpful.
Yeah, well, you have been, being the representative here, and talking about it and giving us an intro into what they possibly plan on doing. And I really like the idea. I was surprised when it was brought up. I thought, oh my god, anthology? What?
I was surprised as well. They really, as soon as I promoted them, they were really eager to do things and try and promote the site, and that was really cool to see.
Yeah, so cool. And I like that everybody had sort of come to the Duck with a kind of similar stories of, looking for a place where they could allow their free expression of ideas because nowhere else actually allowed it. And it did here, and then they decided to actually they liked it so much that they became part of the community and being proactive like that, which is so cool. So it's not just somewhere to post the work and leave, like is what so many people do. I love that aspect. So many websites you just come along and you go, yep, I'm putting my... And I don't care about it. I'm just going and never coming back. Or yeah, so it is giving back to the community, which, you know, that shows what... that, like, wanting to do an anthology really shows that off, that you really want to give back to the community, that you want to become part of it, you want to make it into something bigger. So it's... Oh, Tance has come back. Hello, Tance.
Welcome back.
Hello. It wouldn't let me speak. It was keeping me muted. So yeah, I'm catching up a little bit. But yeah, I want to just say, and I probably repeat what you guys said, that the Discord stuff is being amazing. The Discord itself it has become very, very much alive. There are a lot of ideas, there are a lot of fun channels, and a lot of brainstorming happening. And there will be more. There will be more. So definitely get on there. So there's that.
Yes, get on there to see the secret adult work, which is pretty cool, in the not safe for life and not safe for work sections.
On that topic, I kind of adore how everybody's been posting really tame work in the Not Safe for Life channel. That's been really cute. I like that.
Oh jeez, have they?
Yeah. Pretty much almost everything posted in the Not Safe for Life channel so far could have been posted in the Not Safe for Work channel.
Oh really?
Yeah. Yeah, those two channels were made to separate the very extreme from the just not general Not Safe for Work. So
we're messing it up. We're
yeah.
ruining it.
No, but I enjoy it. It's kind of cute. I like it.
Oh, jeez. I remember I do have some stuff that would probably be more not safe for life. I did a fan art for T Green, who was an adult comicer on Drunkduck back in the day. So I did a fan art for her, which was quite extreme, you know, following on the theme of the comics that she did. So T Green, if anyone remembers, a great member of the site, and married to Ink Monkey, who was one of our very earliest members of Drunkduck. He used to do Elijah and a Zoo. So good old Ink Monkey. Probably no one remembers him except for me. But yeah, so post your extreme stuff in the Not Safe for Life channel. Is there like a barrier to joining that? Like you guys were gonna like check people's qualifications?
No, so you just have to react in the roles channel and give yourself the role to see that. And then once you get to the channel, Discord will ask you what your age is before you can view it.
Okay.
So you just have to enter your age, and by law that's fine until we find out that you're underage, in which case we'll restrict access from you. Aside from that, that's the only restriction, is we've just the general trust system that every site has, pretty much.
Well, that's all right. That works well. So yeah, our site actually works that way too, you know, on trust, because we're not checking credit card numbers for age and all that, and there's no other way you could do that. Like you could ask people to upload driver's licenses. I don't know, it's just insane. No one does that.
Yeah, there's a couple of places that have been trying to do stuff like that, and I think there's been a bill in the UK that was trying to get people to verify with credit cards.
Wow.
And yeah, it's just a massive security risk, a massive privacy risk. It's not worth it. For sure. Like, okay, you put all of these people's monetary and personal lives at risk in exchange for keeping a couple people who are slightly underage off the site. It isn't worth the risk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it tends to be driven by just crazy Puritan people who magnify the idea that everyone is a child. And, you know, it's like, in reality, the amount of people below 16, unless you're in a third world country, is actually a minority, a tiny minority of your population, unless you're in, like, a very poor third world country that doesn't exist. There's nowhere that has a massive bunch of kids being a main part of the population. So you're catering to a society that doesn't exist, because those people don't tend to have, you know, in those countries, they don't have mass internet and they don't speak English anyway. So who are you protecting? No one. A made up people. You're protecting made up people. You're an idiot. So don't do that. Yeah, sure, we should protect kids from viewing adult stuff, but we already have the protections in place that are enough to do that. We don't have to bubble wrap all of the world and all of society and treat adults as if they are children. So I'm not saying that we should vastly open up everything to porn and have sex on the streets. No, we already have stuff in place because people do naturally compartmentalize. And we are adults, and we are not, you know, horny teenagers. We don't like to see that stuff everywhere. So we do compartmentalize it, and we're sensible about it.
It's sorry.
No, go on.
It's a very controversial topic. But while I think that kids and people who are minors should definitely be separated from adult communities as much as possible for their and our safety.
Yeah.
People are going to search it out on their own, and they are going to get into it anyway. It's in the physiology of people's bodies to do that after puberty. So it's never going to end. Going to an unreasonable degree to try and prevent it, like credit cards and driver's licenses and everything, isn't helping anybody. Yeah.
Like you say, it's just an unnecessary security risk and, you know, privacy risk, as you say, because what happens when the inevitable data breach happens, and, you know, people's financial details get out there, but also people's habits get out there, and then that's used as blackmail. And you've seen, like, these idiots are wanting to introduce this in Britain, and we've seen what happens. People get blackmailed and destroyed about any single thing that's seen by the community as being slightly off. They're crucified for it. And can you imagine about their porn viewing habits if that was let out? There'd be people being crucified right, left, and centre over every little tiny thing. It'd be terrible. Oh, such and such is in defeat. Oh, they must be a terrible pervert. Oh, such and such viewed this porn site at this stage. Are they immoral? You know, are they fit to be anything?
I think I think there's been people who have actually died due to porn site data breaches in, you know, more strict countries in that regard. People have actually been killed, or by the government for their emails and their names leaking, which is really insane.
Yeah, that's not even well, it is an extreme. But this can happen. This is a very real possibility. Content creators, this happens to them when their information is leaked. So, and yeah, it's a bad thing. So instead of seeking to punish people and criminalize stuff, we should seek to normalize it, I think is the phrase people use now. But yeah, we should seek to, make this stuff safer because, yeah, as Boundbine says, it's part of human physiology and human culture. So it should be made normal. And that's what, coming back to Drunkduck, we allow full expression, whereas other sites do not. Comic Fury is our nearest, I suppose, rival that does this kind of thing, but even they have restrictions, and their restrictions can change, whereas we don't tend to. We just have the normal legal restrictions, so no one underage, that kind of thing. So, yeah. But, yeah, we have diverted a bit from our anthology topic.
Yeah, I apologize.
Oh, it's not your fault. This was a good little transition. And we're coming towards the end of our time on the particular QUACKCAST. So, we should go to the Discord and have a look what they're saying on the Ontology. Especially if you want to be part of it, or you want to change the course of how it's going to go, or influence the course anyway. And thank you very much for listening to the QUACKCAST. Thank you guys for being on the QUACKCAST.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was my pleasure.
Ciao.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.